to ask them, do you feel that there are investments that our agencies should be making into talent, recruitment, creative processes, leadership, tools, and other things that they're not making now?
Yeah, absolutely. In that dichotomy that I presented earlier, the chicken and egg, I just want to be clear. I think it's actually incumbent on us to prove our value. We need to make the first step. We need to blink first, whatever the analogy is. And absolutely key to that is having the kind of people. Look, it's up to us to shift the programming that we're proposing to clients to make it idea-based programming, to make it everything that you mentioned. I don't remember the acronym, but that you mentioned, disruptive and so on. And to do that, we simply need people who can think that way and who are willing to think that way, as you addressed before. So yeah, we have to make the investment. We have to invest in people. We have to invest in training. We have to come up with ways to organize our operations so that we can inject that creativity. And maybe it's hiring people that aren't traditional PR people. Maybe it's organizing differently. We're organized on a matrix where we're building a planning function as horizontal that cuts across all teams. So we have it on a vertical and a horizontal basis. So I do think that we have to make the investments. We have to attract and retain the people. We have to train them up. And if we keep showing, or if we begin to show idea-based programming,
just to summarize, it's incumbent on the agency to invest. Talent has got to be the core of that investment. And given the talent situation, we have to come up with creative ways to bring talent into the organization from different places and to bring training into the organization.
Very much some comments from you, and I think we'll open it to the floor because we still have light.
I agree, and I believe that when you are hiring people, it's most important because there are people from the background of design and creative thinking. There are people. Can you hear me?
Okay, I think at this point we'll just throw it over to the floor because I think we don't want to. I think we all need a drink. So let's throw it over. Do we have any questions, please? Yes, Melissa, please. I think you just got to shout.
Okay, my question is really. Should I come up? Yeah. My question is really on budgets and creativity, because I know in your slide you presented that the third greatest barrier to creativity was budgets. You said it's consistent with the global funding. In my own experience and beliefs, I do believe that a big idea does not necessarily equate with a big cost. So to frame my wrong, really, do you think that there's a direct correlation between creativity and budgets in PR, as far as PR goes?
Well, look, let me put it to you this way. Very often we have pitched ideas that had budgets attached that were dismissed outright because there's only 1 lakh or something like that. But what I would say is if we get to the point where we're doing idea-based programming and we're integrating it, we can stop looking at PR budgets and marketing and advertising budgets. We can look at program budgets for which all of the integrated elements are incorporated. And if we can get to that point, then budgets become irrelevant, I would say. Because my experience is when you get a good idea and you get buy-in throughout the organization, the budget becomes a much smaller issue.
Thank you. Another question over there? Yeah. No,
This question is actually for Robert Are we PR professionals shy of giving an idea because we're too scared for lack of information? I mean, that's something that we believe that we can't execute, therefore let's not give an idea. Or it's also because on the other side, the corporate communication professionals say that's not your mandate, focus on top story and be there. So it's actually a question for any of the panel.
Good question. Who wants to take it?
Girish, you're from PR agency, and you know very well that
See.
I think what Bob said is the same. What Bob said is the same. Everybody else would say. Is that I'm sorry to say. Creativity from corporate communications agent is what we do.
Creativity in action. Do we have any more questions, or should we just wrap it up now? Oh, we do have one more there. Please go ahead.
A point of view followed by a question. If we talk about big companies, then big companies have their respective divisions that are responsible for respective acts or execution point of view. Now, when we're talking about this, idea can come from anywhere, and probably PNG has the case you spoken or you discussed talks about it. When we talk about public relations or corporate communication division, definitely the mandate is a certain given mandate. Definitely the idea can come from there. But if you talk about execution, definitely the execution will not.
Finding is that the ideas are coming from the digital team. So what we are doing is that we are putting the digital team in the center with the public relations team around it. And those ideas are winning with clients. That's our impact.
Just to answer your question, whether the departments are working in silos, if I've understood you correctly.
No. What I'm saying is, idea can come from anywhere, but ultimately the execution will go, especially in bigger companies. The smaller companies, they have lack of budgets.
Like working right now, there is much more than media that we do as a function. We manage a large part of the social media engagement, influencer management, so the entire online on ORM piece rests with my team. The community management and online marketing rests with brand. There is a part that is purely customer care, which rests with the customer care division, because they are the experts there. So, and all the three owners of these three sets come together. We have joint meetings and we work jointly. We keep each other informed about everything. So the reputation management piece is, the way we look at it, is a part of, it rests with all three of us, and we work together to take it forward. So therefore, to answer your question, yes.
Can I jump in just one thing? I would say absolutely, and if it doesn't, we're in trouble, because that's where we're putting all our investment towards that. There are two changes or two trends that are happening that are causing us to move in this direction. The first is obviously the move to digital, and when in your question you're implying that digital is separate from PR. I think in India, in many cases, that's true. If you look back to the U.S. And if anybody who's familiar with our company in the U.S., it's absolutely not true. And that's the way we're going.
Societies are different that way.
Secondly, is what I would say towards what we're calling content marketing. And that is not just advertising, not just sales content, but actual different types of content. So the way we see the world in the future is that content marketing, you develop specific content for specific stakeholder audiences. You push that content out through traditional media, hybrid media, social media, owned media, and experiential marketing, and that this gives actually PR an advantage, because this is about conversations, this is about storytelling, this is about the content, the kind of content that we are good at developing.
That's where our whole business model is going. So if that works, and we like to think it will lead to exactly the situation you're talking about, where we will be actually executing on these programs. And there are programs, perhaps not so many within India, but some. But there are programs outside of India where PR is definitely leading. Campaign for Real Beauty for Dove, Eco Imagination for GE, those kinds of programs. So I believe that is where we're going.
I just want to add one more thing, is that social media or the online media is no different from either a newspaper, organization or television channel. There is just another platform of messaging. So if we look at it together, then it makes our case stronger. In order to start the conversation, the correct conversation, to reach at the right kind of people. But if you are saying that that is something that I don't, I only do eye services, newspapers, magazines, and television channels, then you are drawing your own little box.
Agree.
Yeah, I'd like to actually build on what Eva just said. In fact, think of social media as a new asset or ammo that you have to create more traditional news media stories. For example, on our brand Oral-B, which is an oral care brand, toothbrushes, we had Madhuri Dixit be the chief smile officer with her iconic smile. We ran out of news because a toothbrush is a toothbrush, right, end of the day. So what we did was we got the chief smile officer, Madhuri Dixit, imitate iconic smiles of other legendary actors and actresses. And we created a YouTube video of that. So it started with the social media idea, but the traditional newspaper guys and TV channels loved it so much that it got automatically amplified on the traditional media. So think of social media as something that can give you ammo when there is dearth of news in your traditional media. The second point to your question on, how can we go beyond PR and media? A couple of years back, we evolved from PR to what we call influencer marketing. So our PR team actually goes beyond news media. We work with hairstylists, pediatricians for Pampers. So be it tying up with the Indian Academy of Pediatricians for a holistic 360-degree endorsement for Pampers, from advertising down to packaging, is something that our team will do. So think of yourself as influencers that will tap into beyond the news media. People who will talk about your brand and whose advocacy you can earn, exactly like you would with the media.
All the organization stakeholders. The channel is irrelevant, frankly. So really, whether it's digital, experiential, regulatory, or media. And I think that if the public relations industry allows itself to be defined solely in terms of media relations, I'm not sure there's going to be much of a public relations industry left. Frankly, if you look at the changes that are happening in the media industry. Any more?
I guess. So it gets extremely difficult for us to map each idea in the number of clips and the AVE. So how do you think we can tackle that?
It is going to be viral. And this is what I'll just take an example of an ad campaign that we launched last year, Our Friends and Weekend. When we saw the ad, we were a part of a lot of discussions, etc. But when we saw the ad, we knew that it was a good ad. Right. But the way it took over the imagination of the people and the way it went viral, nobody could even assess that ROI at the time of the ideation process or even the first cut. So I think while I understand and I appreciate the concern that you have, I think it is still important to ideate without trying to figure out if it is, what is going to be the end result. Because at the end of the day, if your idea is good and if you are able to pitch it right to the client or to your bosses or whoever it is, I think it will get heard. So whether it will see traction immediately, there would be budgetary restraints, there would be some issues, etc. that will always be there. But I think that it will not just die.
You actually echoed my point, because that's my concern. That because these are marketing ideas. Tell me, what is your PR idea and how is that PR?
You can tell a story. She's a living, breathing example of a story of a toothbrush. Everything know how to tell a story. And PR is all about telling a compelling story. So it may not receive mass traction, it may receive niche, hearing, but it is about telling a story.
Yeah, so I think a lot of time.
Well, on the one hand, as long as you're, I've said since the day I got here, and my guys don't close their ears now because you've heard it 100 times. I don't care if we win every pitch, as long as the client realizes they've seen 5 apples and an orange. They may want another apple, and they may get another apple, but eventually they're going to realize, even if it costs a bit more, damn, I want that orange. The flip side, however, is if we are going to play in this league, if we are going to sell ideas and bigger ticket programs, we can't just pull them out of our ears. We also have to justify those ideas. So we have to professionalize in terms of whether it's market research, whether it's whatever it is. We have to. If we're going to be competing outside of what is now considered PR in India, we have to up our game as well, and we have to some degree, meet the same bar as the ad agencies or the digital firms that we're going to be pitching against.
That we ask ourselves, did we do a good job? And whether we win it or not is not really important. Did we give it our best? And there are many times that we don't because of timelines and you're sort of running around. But there are ones where you put in a lot of work and you really want to be good when you step up. And often you don't win. And there are many reasons. And sometimes there are no reasons because there's a global alignment or there's a budget constraint or we like to face in somebody else. I don't know where it comes from. We never actually told the truth. So we believe then that maybe the idea that we had was not good. That's the best.
I think we got there in the end. We got some really good discussion. I'd like to thank all of my panelists. If you can please join me in giving them a big hand.
A few housekeeping announcements. Just outside we're going to have the bar, and I don't think you need an introduction to where and how you get there. And this place, I'm told, within 15 minutes is going to transform into a dance floor. Yeah. And there is also the fusion folk band, Swaratma, that's making waves across the globe and will be presenting their act. And there's a big prize tomorrow for the early risers, basically for those who survive tonight. And so don't forget to be here by 9:10. One lucky delegate is going to be chosen to take home a brand new unlocked Apple iPhone 5 courtesy AirSet. So with that, I'm signing off. Stay in touch on Facebook or wherever.
Tomorrow we are going to rectify the sound issue. Just so that you all know, the reason for this is this hotel always has sound system on the other side. Because it was raining, we bought the concert from out inside. The rain has stopped, but it was drizzling in the afternoon. Therefore, the sound system doesn't work this side, which we are not aware of. And therefore, this is commotion. Tomorrow morning, we'll move the entire conference part to the stage because the band will move out in the night. So it will all be rectified. Sorry again for this entire mishap. I'm sure the Swaratma concert and the food and the drinks will make up for it. And tomorrow we promise better output of sound. One second. The hotel is going to change the power from direct current to a generator mode in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Mr. Ramesh Kumar, changing now. So there will be a power cut for about 2 minutes, he promises, not more than that, when they'll change from direct current to generator or whatever. So just bear with that, and then we'll be fine for Swaratma and the rest of the union. See you.
Daddy. Bye.